All I could focus on was my son, keeping him comfortable and fed. And you know, when you hyper focus like that, it kind of makes everything else go away. But in reality, I mean, it's really hard.
A Louisville mother spent 3 nights out on the street with her 2-year-old boy before a homeless outreach group moved them into a hotel. Her story is just one of many. Louisville's massive homeless crisis continues. It's our top story right here at 5. I'm Shay McAllister. The city's Coalition for the Homeless says this year the number of unsheltered people increased 139%. WHAS11's Ian Hardwitt and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton talked to that family today who lived on the street to understand the city's growing issue.
That's what's important to me, family.
Krista Petty's family centers around her 2-year-old son, Yeshua. They haven't had a stable living situation for a couple years now.
It was shortly after Yeshua was born, and I think it was September of 2021. My husband could no longer work, and that's when everything really started to spiral out of control.
Marvin, her husband, is legally blind. As a child, a car hit him while he played outside. He required a cornea transplant, but his vision has slowly deteriorated since, making him unable to perform his previous job as a forklift driver.
We didn't have much, but we had everything we needed.
They're waiting for his disability payments to start. The family used to rely on Krista's disability checks due to her various health issues, but once they lost their home, they also lost their ability to receive those benefits.
I'm physically disabled. I have lupus and I have back problems as well. It's just being on my feet, it's really tough for me. I have to sit down quite a lot, but I push myself every day.
This is the bench Petty's 2-year-old son, Yeshua, slept on before a homeless outreach group, South End Street Angels, moved them into the hotel they're staying in now. The founder of the group, Amanda Mills, says it's a situation no family should ever have to face.
A little baby was sleeping in the arms of his father.
Mills made the run herself at night to put them in a safer place.
A lot of grassroots organizations and nonprofits get funding, but it's not enough. That is an answer that doesn't sit well with me.
After she agreed to speak with WHAS, the mayor's office reached out to Mills and paid for the rest of the Petty family's hotel stay through November 7th. The struggling mother is grateful, but says
there's help out there. We just need to be more.
More for her and the other families like hers living on the streets as a cold winter looms ahead. In Louisville, Ian Hardwitt, WHAS 11, on your side.
So let's take a closer look. In Louisville, according to the city's website, there are only 4 emergency family shelters. You can see them right here. The Center for Women and Families is for domestic violence or assault survivors only, and Volunteers of America requires a reservation for a room. Meanwhile, the future of the mayor's proposed community care campus is murky. Mayor Craig Greenberg is asking the state for $22 million for the project. The city wants to turn a block of unused buildings in the Smoketown neighborhood into a resource for homeless people. The plans include a medical respite facility to help people who are leaving the hospital, family housing, and more. But the city has not confirmed a contract yet. Earlier this month, the mayor said the state funds would help the project along.
This proposal here will help make that a reality even quicker. With the money that we've asked for here, it will go into additional capital projects to make those services come online quicker.
Bidding for the project ended on August 11th and 3 groups submitted proposals. Now to more news right here at 5 o'clock. Right now, Louisville Metro Police are looking for a driver who hit and killed a woman in the California neighborhood. Police say right after 8:30 last night, a woman was walking across Broadway near 15th Street when she was hit by a car. The car did not stop, instead fleeing the scene. EMS pronounced that woman dead. And we have new details on the man who's accused of making a bomb threat at the Hall of Justice. According to an arrest citation, David Kennedy walked into the Hall of Justice around 11:30 yesterday morning. Officers say he stopped right inside the door, holding a backpack in one hand and a lighter in the other. Police say he told officers he had explosives. They told him to drop the lighter, drop the backpack, and when he didn't, they tased and pepper sprayed him. LMPD officers and the bomb squad evacuated the building and found no threat. Kennedy is charged with wanton endangerment, assault, and resisting arrest. Now to the fallout from Councilman Anthony Piagentini's ethics violation. 8 people lost their jobs as a result. Councilman Piagentini was found guilty of 6 ethics violations. He's accused of using his power to leverage a job with the Louisville Healthcare CEO Council. As a result, the mayor pulled their ARP funding, $40 million. And according to the council, they have to cut their healthcare career lab. The $40 million grant funded the lab's 8 employees. Effective November 3rd, those 8 people are out of a job. Checking in now with Sam Gabrielli in the Weather Center. As we give you a look outside, a little bit cloudy. You can see a little bit of blue popping through. Sam, are you worried about any rain this evening?
I'm really not, Shay. I think the rain's going to hold off until after midnight tonight here. That'll be the next little batch of light rain we're tracking to introduce the weekend. Saturday will be kind of one of those days where it'll be gloomy, and we're expecting temperatures in the mid-60s tomorrow. But today, we're loud and proud with the low to mid to upper 70s here. In fact, some of us in southern Indiana did hit 80 degrees as we guided you into the afternoon. 77 in Jasper, 80 currently in Scottsburg, like I just mentioned, and again, some upper 60s on the map for some of our southern communities today. That's where most of the clouds have been pretty thick throughout the course of the afternoon. That's where the rainfall was focused as well. Game of the week this week, Mail taking on Manual at Manual. If you're going to be heading to the game, it's looking to be seeing readings generally in the low 70s early on. Kickoff slated for 7:30. For your drive home, we're expecting a mostly cloudy sky. Notice into the weekend, there's going to be a lot of chances for rain. Tomorrow, kind of lesser chances early in the day, but as we get into Sunday and especially on Monday, this is where the concern for heavy rainfall will be. Keep in mind though, Shay, it's much needed rain in a few minutes. I'm going to talk more about the cool down slated for Halloween itself in a few minutes.
All right, Sam, thank you. Well, the massive manhunt is still on for the man accused of shooting and killing 18 people in Maine. And for the heartbroken and shaken communities, authorities are still telling them to shelter in place. Here's what we know tonight. More than 200 FBI agents are in Maine helping with the search. Robert Card owned a boat and a jet ski, so detectives are focusing on the river in the town of Lisbon. Agents found the Card's car at the boat ramp still running with a gun inside. ABC News has also learned Card's sister told investigators she thought her brother may have been going after an ex-girlfriend who was frequently at that bowling alley.
I'm not saying that the suspect, we know the suspect is in the water and this is what we're doing. What I'm telling you is you're going to see a lot of activity here.
Detectives are also going through more than 530 tips from the public. Well, this case is certainly renewing the debate over mental health and gun laws. Defense officials say the suspected shooter was acting erratically over the summer. Here's ABC's Andrea Fuigi.
Questions loom as to how the suspected mass shooter in Maine, despite his 2-week stay in a mental health facility over the summer, was allowed to own a gun.
That should have triggered the yellow flag law, and he should have been separated from his weapons.
Maine has a yellow flag law that establishes a process to take firearms away from a person during a mental health crisis. The process includes a police investigation, a doctor exam, and a judge's order. A process critics say takes too long.
I think the Maine law is too restrictive, and it has been used, but I think it could be more widely applied if we had a red flag law.
Margaret Groban from the University of Maine Law School says Maine's gun laws are lax compared to other northeastern states which have red flag laws. They simplify the process, allowing relatives of a gun owner to directly ask a court to remove a gun during a mental health crisis. Still, that may not have been enough.
Even if Robert Card had been prohibited from buying a gun, we do not have universal background checks in Maine, and he could have gone to a local corner, to a private dealer, and he would have been able to buy a gun illegally that way.
Despite Maine's soft gun laws, the state has fewer mass shootings per capita than those with stricter laws. Maine had 3 mass shootings since 2018, far below Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York. Others say it's the type of gun that's the issue. In this case, the suspect using an assault-style weapon. Maine Congressman Jared Golden, who previously opposed an assault weapons ban, says this shooting rampage has changed his mind.
The time has now come for me to take responsibility for this failure, which is why I now call on the United States Congress to ban assault rifles like the one used by the sick perpetrator of this mass killing in my hometown of Lewiston, Maine.
On the federal level, Congress passed a law last year after the shooting in Uvalde, Texas, that gives states incentives to pass red flag laws. Further legislation, though, is stalled in Congress. Andrea Fuji, ABC News, New York.
Right now, Kentucky does not have a red flag law, although legislation has been proposed in the past. In recent debates, Governor Andy Beshear has said he would fight for one, given a second term. An opponent, Daniel Cameron, has said Kentucky doesn't need a red flag law. Across the river, Indiana does have a red flag law. They actually passed one of the nation's first red flag laws.